Screenshots for Halo Infinite Forge have been leaked. Compulsion Games is one of Montreal's top employers, and we have more information about Perfect Dark. Welcome back to another video, guys. If you enjoy daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So Forge was a major feature that was not there with the release of Halo Infinite, and it is a feature with a huge community that can really just continuously have new content coming to Halo. So it not being there has had some effects on the overall content that we are getting right now with Halo Infinite. But 343 has previously said that Forge is coming with season 3 of Halo Infinite, and the first season is going to be ending in May 2022, and then after that it is expected that the seasons will be about 3 months long. So season 3 is not going to be here until about August, September time, and that's when it looks like we will be getting Forge. But we did get some screenshots of what we can expect, or where it is at least right now within development. So as you can see here, screenshots with kind of like the things you're going to be able to add as objects within Forge: accents, biomes, decals, gameplay, all a bunch of different things. Biomes is pretty interesting because these are objects like floors, rocks, and terrains, and this makes me wonder what type of environments we're going to be able to create with Forge, and what other biomes are going to be making their way over to Halo Infinite's campaign. Are they going to have new DLC with different biomes to explore? Because that was something that I think a lot of people were hoping for with the original release, and it wasn't there. And they had shown off different biomes in some videos, as well as in the art book that I have for Halo Infinite. There are definitely pictures of biomes that with snow and just different areas that weren't within the campaign. So you could tell they really wanted to have different looking areas within Halo Infinite's single player campaign, but because they wanted to get that game out for when they did, they weren't going to delay it again. They had to probably cut a lot of content from it. And then we move over here to the next screenshot, and just kind of giving you the controls, at least on PC, as how you're going to be able to control Forge when you're making your content. Now, besides those leaked screenshots, there was some more stuff that just recently came out that was leaked from Forge. So we have here the retro effects, as you can see, kind of like the pixels popping up there from the ground, which is kind of cool. We have this one here, UNSC Saber, someone walking around this spaceship that potentially is going to be able to be put in maps within Forge. We continue down here. There is also a bunch of these energy FXs, so just kind of like these Covenant energy flames that are popping up, which looks like will be available in Forge as well. Then we have here additionally the Spore Mount and the Forge monitor. So this count here is actually showing off a bunch of leaked stuff from Forge, or maybe just files they've been pulling from the PC version of the game. Who knows if all this stuff will make it into the actual game itself. So for me personally, I've never really been huge into Forge, and I can't tell if this is like a good looking screenshot right now in terms of the content that they're planning on giving to us. But we go through the comments, and some people are saying that it looks good, as well as it looks kind of like Halo 5, and Halo 5's Forge was awesome. So we'll have to wait and see what the community feels about Forge when it is finally released. But since they are delaying it all the way to season 3, I think a lot of people are expecting big things, myself included. I'm hoping that when Forge comes out, it's going to give the community just really amazing tools to create amazing maps and content for multiplayer that is going to be a lot of fun to play, and that you can have like playlists with all these different Forge maps that people have created. That's what's exciting for me about this. And I think when this comes out, you'll see a lot of those numbers within Halo Infinite increase. You'll see a lot of people jumping in to use Forge, and then other people wanting to go in and see all of the different maps that have been created. All right, jumping over here to Compulsion Games. They have been recognized as one of Montreal's top employers for 2022, and this is really great news for an Xbox Game Studios, especially after the recent acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We know that the industry is going to have a spotlight on how Microsoft is going to handle the workplace environment and the culture at Activision Blizzard. How are they going to be able to turn that place around so it's a place that people enjoy working, and just improve the entire reputation of the Activision Blizzard studios? But this is great news because, as we know, when Microsoft has been acquiring these developers, they've allowed them to keep their culture. They've been hands off and just allow them to continue working in the way that they were working previously. And it looks like maybe parts of the reasons they acquire some of these studios is they look at their culture, they look at the way that they operate, and think that they would be a great fit within Xbox Game Studios. Compulsion Games obviously fitting that mold if we're basing it off of this award that they have received as a top employer. So this award is presented to companies that really have adapted with the pandemic. In Montreal and in Quebec, there were various different lockdowns and measures and stuff going on that made it difficult for a lot of these companies to operate previously in the way that they were operating pre-pandemic, especially with having people who are making video games have to work at home and not be able to go into the office and do all of the stuff that happens with developing a video game. And they have adapted really well to this entire thing. So they got recognized because they say here, Compulsion Games ULC provided employees a $1,000 stipend to help offset the cost of home office setup and has reimbursed 100% of home internet costs since the start of the pandemic. The company also generously reimbursed 100% of therapy costs for employees and their families from March 2020 to August 2021. So I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty awesome. It's great to see that Compulsion is really taking the initiative to make sure that their employees are taken care of and that the culture is great. And I'm actually really excited for Compulsion Games and what they have coming next. So we have information here a while back from, I believe, Windows Central reporting that the game that is currently being worked on at Compulsion Games is codenamed Midnight, and it is set in a dark and fantastical world inspired by America's Deep South. And this is going to be a narrative-driven third-person game. Here are some of the art designs that we have right now for the game, and I think that this looks really cool. I've been playing Contrast, which was their first game that they ever made, and you can tell that the studio had a lot of potential from that game itself. Really cool, interesting art design, characters, and the overall kind of premise of what they're going for, with it being dark but also kind of in the olden day style with the setting that they're in. Very, very interesting. So if you haven't checked out Contrast, I would recommend it. And on top of that, a third person narrative single player game is definitely something that a lot of people enjoy, a lot of people want. We know Sony does those very well, but Xbox has not too many of those within Xbox Game Studios. Adding that to the actual portfolio, I think would be a great thing just overall. You don't have to enjoy these styles of games, but I think for Xbox Game Studios, with the amount of studios they have, they really want to have a well-rounded portfolio and have games with different genres and different styles. And it looks like Compulsion Games is going to be tackling that single player narrative third-person game. All right, finally, to end things off here, we got some more information, or at least we got, looks like more information on potentially the style of game that Perfect Dark is going to be. So this comes via LinkedIn from somebody who is currently right now the lead producer at Crystal Dynamics working on Perfect Dark, has been there for 2 months. Now we know the initiative is the lead studio for Perfect Dark, and they are now teaming up with Crystal Dynamics as a support studio to help create this game. But within this person's profile, Corey Butler, these are the things that he's worked on. One of the main things people are highlighting here is games as a service. Now, this has people speculating that Perfect Dark is going to be an episodic style of game similar to the Hitman series. Now, this is interesting. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I'd assume this game was going to be like a 15 to 20 hour experience, just one big game with a story, and that story was going to be played out through that entire length of the game. But if they do it in episodes, there are different things they could do with this, like focus on different characters and story elements with each release. But the one thing as well, that the games as a service part of this game that he may be working on could just literally be the multiplayer, because that is technically games as a service, and Perfect Dark has had a multiplayer component, and maybe they are thinking about ways of implementing different services within that part of the game. I hope there is a great multiplayer with Perfect Dark, make it a complete package and not just a single player game, because we haven't heard too much about this game. They showed it off. They showed it was going to be a reboot of it, and that was pretty much it. We know that there have been shuffling around within the studio, such as Drew Murray, who is, I believe, the lead, leaving and going back to Insomniac. So it's still up in the air with Perfect Dark, and I'm hoping to see more about this game, particularly this year at E3 or some other event in 2022. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about the initiative in Perfect Dark, Compulsion Games with being recognized as one of Montreal's top employers, and the Forge screenshots. Are you excited for Forge, and what do you think about those screenshots and the information that we've seen so far? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. New here, enjoy what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.